the game about to start?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Shake Shack welcomes you to West Wing Week.
Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and beyond.
So actually it will be on TV. It will be on TV.
That's May 16th to May 22nd, or straight A's? Whoa!
Straight A's. Whoa!
Since everyone likes a casual Friday, the president and vice president dropped into a local Shake Shack, a hamburger chain that has chosen to raise the minimum wage above $10 an hour for their employees.
Are next in the line?
I lost.
Well, are you buying everybody lunch, Joe?
I put it in front of them, so I'm going to buy her lunch. Hey, man. Do you need help with the French fries?
While there, they visited with other customers and grabbed burgers with 4 workers who just completed a local infrastructure project, and talked about how infrastructure investment is the key to America's long-term economic success. Meanwhile, the First Lady traveled to Topeka, Kansas to talk education ahead of the 60th anniversary of the landmark Supreme Court case, Brown v. Board of Education. Topeka is home to the historic case in which the Supreme Court's decision outlawed racial segregation in our nation's schools, declaring education must be made available to all on equal terms.
Surprise!
Following the tour, she dropped in on high school students participating in Wichita State's Gear Up, a Department of Education-funded program to help prepare more low-income students for higher education. Then she went across town to address the graduating class of the Topeka Public Schools. On a sunny Monday afternoon, the president surprised a field of Little Leaguers by dropping in on their pregame preparations.
Mr. President, you know you got to throw out the ceremonial first pitch.
Yeah!
Am I throwing out the pitch?
Yeah!
On Tuesday, the president brought leaders in American business together to discuss Select USA, an initiative that the president established by executive order, which seeks to highlight why America is ripe for business and investment opportunity from companies all around the world. Later that day, the First Lady met up with the president for a photo shoot and sit-down interview in the Oval Office with Parade magazine.
Can we, Photoshop the gray hair out there?
Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, the Vice President, Dr. Joe Biden, arrived in Bucharest on day 1 of a 3-day trip to Romania and Cyprus.
Vice President, welcome to Romania, sir. Very good, sir. Very nice to meet you.
The first stop was Otopeni Air Base, where the Vice President took a tour of the military exercise Carpathian Spring and greeted the joint U.S. and Romanian participants before addressing the international community's continued response to Russia's illegal military intervention and destabilizing actions in Ukraine. Later, they stopped by a pre-Memorial Day barbecue at the U.S. Embassy to thank the staff and their families for their service.
I'm going to take off my glasses here. Is that okay? You want to put my glasses on? There you go.
On Wednesday, the Vice President held a series of bilateral meetings, first with the President of Romania at Cotroceni Palace, then with the Prime Minister at Victoria Palace, before addressing civil society groups, students, and political leaders on reaffirming America's commitment to strengthening democratic institutions all across the region.
Nice to meet you. We have a present for you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Later, the Vice President, Dr. Biden, traveled to Cyprus, the first Vice President since Lyndon Johnson to visit. He took a moment on the tarmac to reaffirm the U.S. support for a path for unification of the Mediterranean island nation. Meanwhile, stateside, the President addressed the White House press corps about the review currently underway to ensure America's veterans have access to the VA services and health care they deserve. The President then welcomed the Super Bowl Champion Seattle Seahawks to the White House to honor the team in their Super Bowl victory, continuing the tradition begun by the President of honoring sports teams for their efforts to give back to their communities.
The bear is loose.
Later in the afternoon, the President was heading over to the nearby Department of Interior
It's for your
and
birthday.
decided to break with tradition and take a springtime walk. On the way, he got a chance to meet with all sorts of folks who weren't expecting to meet the President of the United States of America.
Someone's gonna think you're like wax.
When he arrived at his destination, he used his executive authority to protect more of our pristine landscapes by designating the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks region a national monument, the second national monument he has designated this year, and the 11th overall. On Thursday, the President traveled to Cooperstown, New York, to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, where he discussed the administration's new travel and tourism agenda. Meanwhile, back at the White House, there was a first day of issue dedication ceremony for the Harvey Milk Forever stamp, while on the other side of the world, the Vice President met with Cypriot leaders, and Dr. Biden visited the United Nations buffer zone. There, she took a tour of the demilitarized zone separating Greek and Turkish Cypriots, also known as the Green Line. So from the hallowed halls of Cooperstown to the Mediterranean island of Cyprus, thanks for traveling alongside us in this Straight A's edition of your West Wing Week.
Is this on TV?
Is this on TV? I don't know. I don't think this one's on TV. Yes.
But it has to, because that camera's there.
Oh, wait a minute. Actually, you know, that's the White House cameraman. So actually, it will be on TV. It will be on TV.
You guys ready?
Over the counter.
Everybody. Yep. Here we go.
I like it.
That's so good.